So what's going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video where today I am talking about everything I think Black Ops Cold War Zombies needs in order to be good again. I think we can all admit BO4 Zombies wasn't the most successful, at least it wasn't as big as we anticipated. For me, it wasn't an improvement on the previous Zombies installment, which was BO3, neither was it to BO2 or even Black Ops 1, so with the next Zombies experience just a couple of months away, I want to talk about what Treyarch can do, and Raven, in order to make it, well, zombies again. And the first and one of the most important things to me is the engine. This is what the game is built on and not only affects zombies but also the campaign, multiplayer, but it can fit certain modes more than it does others. For example, I believe the BO4 engine was well suited for Blackout and multiplayer, but not for zombies. There was just something off about it that, if you're not a developer or you're not in that industry, is pretty difficult to put your finger on. It's difficult to say exactly what I didn't like about the engine for Black Ops 4 Zombies. It felt almost too cartoon-like. It wasn't as smooth as BO3. Like I said, if you don't know about game development, then this one's hard to point out to exactly what the problem was, but all you have to do is compare it to Black Ops 3, and I know a lot of people say that game, in that respect, was far superior. However, this doesn't look like it's going to be a problem because Charlie Intel tweeted out there's been some conflict information going around about the engine being used in Black Ops Cold War. Treyarch is using shared tools between the development teams, building on the Modern Warfare engine, and also using tools built in 2015 with BO3. It's a combination of a lot of tools. That could mean that they are using some Black Ops 4 tools as well. That isn't mentioned in this tweet, but for this game they are using tools from multiple different games, mainly Modern Warfare and Black Ops 3. With it being a next-gen game as well, and looking at the graphics that Modern Warfare had, they were the best we've had up to date. That game looks absolutely amazing, especially when you do some of the campaign missions, so I can't begin to imagine how good in terms of graphics Cold War Zombies is going to be. But at the same time, if they're using Black Ops 3's tools, hopefully it will feel as good to play as it did that game. So the engine isn't something I'm too worried about. I don't think it's going to play like Black Ops 4. And that also brings me on nicely to my second point, the movement system. I know a lot of people love dolphin diving, it is nostalgic. Back in the day, that probably did suit zombies, but since we've had the sliding mechanic, I don't know, I love dolphin diving, I love PhD flopper, but sliding is a lot easier. It's smoother, it's quicker to get around the map, it's more effective, it's more efficient. Dolphin diving, if you're not using it with perks, is pretty pointless. So even though it was cool, I believe the sliding is a better feature. That has to return in my opinion. And another point that also kind of leads on to this is the HUD, the things that we see on screen. I'm going to be comparing BO4 a lot here because that was the latest Zombies game, and it was also another thing I hated about it. If you just take a look at the HUD, how many unnecessary things are on display, such as the picture of the weapon we're using, the health bar, a picture of the character, how big the elixirs are on the right, the perks just placed there in the middle. In my opinion, a lot of the HUD on Black Ops 4 is just very unnecessary. It takes away from the realism. The best HUDs that we had was definitely in BO2. They used a lot of unique ones for different maps. So Buried had its own, Mob of the Dead had its own, Origins had its own. There was just little features that were different about the HUD on each map. It made it unique. They were also clean, it wasn't cluttered. Even though it's such a simple thing, to me it makes a big difference, so that has to change. Now, another thing that we know is going to be different this year from leaks, although not confirmed, is the perk system. We wouldn't have to be talking about this if it didn't change in Black Ops 4. Because of that, we can't be sure that they're not going to use that same system. Hopefully they don't, because I know that drove a lot of people away. Taking away the old perks that we knew and loved, Juggernaut, Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Double Tap, Mule Kick, Deadshot, whoever uses that. But our old perk machines were all of a sudden gone in BO4 and then replaced with new ones. And it was also a new system. You would no longer go into the map, find the perk and then buy it. Now you customized what perks you want to appear in the game and then go and purchase them. This was actually the first time I never felt that buying perks was necessary. I'm not hardcore into the gameplay anyway. I won't go up to round 50 or round 100 every other day. I'm more into the story. But even as an average player, I would always buy the necessary perks, and in BO4, I never did. It just felt like something was missing. I can see what they were trying to do with customization, but I think they took away too much at once. There have been leaks that the old perk system will return, but we also know that we are getting a new storyline. Perks such as Juggernaut, Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Double Tap all belong to the Ether story. Those were developed by Group 935 and other people. So if we're getting a new story, it probably wouldn't make sense for those old perks to return. So maybe the system returns in terms of we aren't able to customize our perks in the main lobby. We just go in there, find the machine, and buy it. And as I just mentioned, the storyline. This is one of the only official pieces of information we've had. We've been told that we are getting a new Cold War story. This game takes place during the 1980s. When zombies first started back in World at War, that took place in the 1940s. We had the Nazis. That was what it was built off back in the day. But our new storyline is in the 1980s. There isn't going to be Nazi zombies, so I can see it being more based between the Americans and Russia. Maybe one of those two countries develops the undead. But just in terms of the storyline, I am 100% fine with them starting a new one. Ether went on for such a long time. We all know it came to an end in BO4, so I think deep down we knew it wasn't going to return. But they did start a new storyline in Black Ops 4. That was Chaos, and well, look how that turned out. If the new Black Ops Cold War storyline is anything like that, I think zombies could fail pretty quickly. Some people liked Chaos, a lot of people didn't. I couldn't get into it. And so what they've got to do with this new story is pique people's interest straight away. That's something that Chaos didn't do. And I believe it will. The Cold War era of zombies will be very interesting. All of the stuff they can use. I think it'll be based more on history as well, whereas Chaos is more mythology. I think it's going to be good, so the story isn't something I'm too worried about. Of course, it is going to take time to build it, but it's going to be interesting from the get-go, which is what Ether was back in the day. Even World at War Zombies, especially Shino, Numa and Doris, the final two DLCs. The story got super interesting, so that's what this year's COD has got to do. And it's the same for the characters. Whoever we are playing as, they have to be unique. They can't be generic characters. What made the Ether characters so good, Richtoff and Taki and Nikolai and Dempsey, is they were very stereotypical. You might say, well, you can't do this nowadays because people will get offended. I think it depends on what stereotypes you use. People get offended at everything, so it is what it is. But Nikolai was your stereotypical drunk Russian, Richtofen was your arrogant German, Dempsey was your classic American, and then of course we had Takio. The Victus crew were also interesting. In fact, all of the characters that we played as in Ether, I found fun to play as. If I had to pick one group, I would say the Call of the Dead cast. I still like them, but out of all of the groups that we've played as in Ether, those are my least favourite. And then comparing that to Chaos, Bruno, Scarlet, Diego and Shaw, they just didn't live up to Richtoff and Takio, Nikolai and Dempsey. They were nowhere near as good as them. It is very difficult to do. I don't think anyone's ever going to beat them. But for me, they weren't even close. They weren't better than any characters, any crew that we played as in Ether. So whoever we play in our new story, they have to be unique and interesting. They've got to be funny, serious, have loads of different emotions, clash with each other as well as become friends, because at the end of the day, zombies doesn't have to be too serious, especially when it comes to the characters. I found the Chaos crew too serious, but they've also got to know what they're doing, be capable. It's something they have to get right because we could be playing with them throughout the whole DLC cycle, and you don't want to be playing with a crew that you just aren't really into. When a map's bad or a story is bad, having a crew that's enjoyable to play as can make it a whole lot better. So that's important. And then a few other things I definitely want to see is a scarier atmosphere for the maps. The one thing we do know from leaks, this could or couldn't be true, but apparently the maps are going to be a lot bigger, maybe even bigger than Transit. I don't have a problem with that, as long as they're done right. But I do want a scarier atmosphere, more like the Black Ops 1 days or the World at War days, although a lot of that could have been down to the grittier graphics. Also, I would say I don't want to see remakes, but I don't think that's going to be a problem with a new story. We have been told for the longest time that Transit, Dire Eyes and Buried were remade. They were supposed to release on BO4 but never did, so there's the small chance they could come to Black Ops Cold War Zombies. If they do, I'm fine with that because, like I just said, they've been finished for a long time. It doesn't take away from them working on new maps. Instead of the new maps, I also want to see loads of Easter eggs, whether it's ciphers, side quests, small things for us to find or discover. I want loads of just tiny little things in each map, obviously, as well as a main Easter egg. And then the final 3 things, weapon customization and character customization. You could do both of these in Black Ops 4. I want the feature to return, although improve on it. I'd love more customization, so being able to put, I don't know, hats on our characters, change their clothing instead of just face paints. It's the same for weapons. And in order to unlock these, hopefully we have challenges like Warzone does, so you get new challenges every week or a new daily challenge, and when you complete it you get a new item. Maybe it's a new weapon skin, a charm for your weapon, a new item of clothing, just challenges you can only do in zombies that reward you. It adds replayability. And then my final point, which might sound strange, but that's sound design. There's something I love about maps. One I can point out is Origins, where they have kind of like a deep sound. This is hard to explain. I'm not a sound engineer, I don't work on games, but the Origins robot, when he's walking through the map, when he's stamping his feet, when he lifts it off the ground, when the Panzer spawns in Dreisendrache, just those deep throaty sounds that you can hear through a headset. I don't know, I just love cool sounds in games. So if we could see more of stuff like that in zombies, that'd make it all the better. But in my opinion, those are all of the things that need to change in Black Ops Cold War Zombies to make it good. And I definitely think it's going to be an improvement and hopefully the start of something new. Yes, we've had zombies for a long time, but it feels like this could be a change for the better. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hopefully, as always, you have enjoyed the video. If you haven't know what to do, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, goodbye.